Welcome, toy fans and toy collectors, to the Spectra Creative channel talking about toy trends. And today, the trend we're going to talk about is Ghostbusters and what the Ghostbuster difference is. Why is this line different from all other toy lines? And not just because it's based on, one of the greatest movies ever made and one of the funniest movies ever made. And obviously, I am a big personal fan of Ghostbusters, and it was really a privilege that I got to work on these toys at a couple companies. In a time when Hasbro is now launching a brand new Ghostbusters line, a new 6-inch scale, it's time to kind of reflect back on some other previous Ghostbuster lines. And right now, we're kind of living in a golden age of Ghostbuster toys. There's kind of more Ghostbuster toys out there at market than there ever was. I mean, this is the Lego fire station. I mean, imagine, we didn't have this when we were kids in the 80s, but, it exists now, and that's a remarkable thing that this, one-time comedy that was never even supposed to be greenlit has worldwide domination and almost 100% logo recognition. There are just so many different ways Ghostbuster toys have been done. I think we'll all probably fondly remember the original toys from real Ghostbusters that Kenner made back in the 80s. And there was kind of a long stall between, but then NECA came along and did the... I'm sorry, it wasn't NECA, it was Art Asylum. What am I saying? They did the kind of the monsters of Ghostbusters in 6-inch scale, which was pretty cool. And, again, now you could get all sorts of crazy things, from Transformers to Pops to wrestlers to... Ghostbusters has become a huge, huge brand. And whether it's fueled by memories of those original toys from the 80s, or it's just fueled by love of the property, Ghostbusters has something that's very, very special and is different from all other brands. And honestly, of all the toys out there, I kind of think we did it the best. I mean, yeah, I'm a little biased, but the Matty Collector product was pretty awesome. I mean, very affordable 12-inch, prop replicas, ghost traps, working PKE meters. I'm really, really proud of the work that we got to do, and we couldn't have done it without the great partners we had at Sony. They were honestly some of the best partners I've gotten to work with, and they were very, very supportive of everything we wanted to do with the Ghostbusters line. I'm going to do a whole video about kind of the specifics, like the behind the scenes of the, the production and how we made all the toys. That's kind of coming at another time. We had so many accessories, and it was just, we did a whole world. It was pretty amazing. Again, I'm very proud of what we did. We had our highs, we had our, prop replicas. The PKE meter was one of the best toys I think I've ever gotten to work on. It is just, it's to this day, it is just so much fun to use. And, we also had our lows in the line. We did the San Diego Comic-Con Stay Puft Marshmallow Man that turned yellow after a few weeks. Yeah, that was really fun to have to deal with that one, and I still feel terrible, even though it wasn't, obviously personally my fault, but I never like to put out bad product. Either way, I'm really proud of the toys we did, and I'm going to do a whole video about the rollout and, why we did each toy, kind of like what I'm doing with Masters of the Universe and DC Universe. But this video today, I want to talk just briefly about a toy trend, and that being what makes Ghostbusters as a brand and a toy line different, and what it has that no other brand does. Back in the day, the Ghostbuster toy line was huge. The Kenner line was one of the best-selling toy lines of all time. It was ridiculously huge, especially for the fact that it had a cartoon show and it had 2 movies. But the role play was some of the best-selling role play toys in history, which is pretty remarkable. It's right up there with things like Hulk hands and lightsabers that just sold tens of thousands and millions of units. And when Ghostbusters 3 came along, or at least the first rumors that there was going to be a Ghostbusters 3, and this was the time I was at Mattel got very hungry. They saw this, and it definitely whet their appetite. And they were thinking, oh, I want a piece of that. That's a multi-$100 million brand, and that should definitely be in our portfolio. But the reason is what I don't think a lot of people think about is Ghostbusters has a very unique play pattern. And no, a play pattern isn't, like a sports thing like this. What I mean by play pattern is how kids engage with toys. An example is wheel play, rolling cars around, or doll play, or hair play, which is a very popular girls' play pattern. Or, even for, people who are watching this video, myself included, who are the adult collectors, that's a play pattern too. It's about acquisition, and the emotional connection is I have more than you, or I have a rare piece that you don't have, and that makes me feel good. And that's a good thing. What Ghostbusters has is it really plays off how every kid is afraid of the dark and afraid of ghosts. Okay, I know there's kids who aren't, but for the most part, most children at some point are afraid of the proverbial boogeyman. And the idea of being able to take that power back, take it away from the ghosts, away from the darkness, and banish them is so empowering for a child that is why Ghostbuster toys do so well. It's not because of the comedy, it's not because of the humor, it's because the child becomes the champion because he can bust ghosts. And he's not just a champion, but he's strong and he's smart. And those are two things that it's really hard to make a kid feel. And if you can make the kid feel strong and smart, that's why Ghostbusters is such a gold mine of a toy brand. Now, and that's why, when a kid gets to dress up like a Ghostbuster, it is so empowering for them. And I'm not talking about, the adult collector avenue. Obviously, we all like to collect these toys, and that's fine. But when you're measuring the emotion versus the mental relationship with a brand, Ghostbusters, of course, again, it has its collectability. People, love Venkman, but compared to something like Shrek, what is the emotional connection with this other than maybe liking the movie? Do people want to see themselves as Shrek? Do kids visualize themselves as the secondary characters? What is it that Shrek is accomplishing? This is why you don't see Shrek toys constantly coming back over and over again. The way Ghostbusters comes back over and over again, it has that unique, innate play pattern of conquering fear. And it's not like, trying to take a successful boys' property and suddenly turn it into a girl's property and think that, by putting a girl lead, that's how you're going to suddenly double your revenue. Okay, well, yeah, maybe they did do that. But the point is that doesn't work. It's not about gender. It's not about, politics. There are properties for girls, and there's a reason they work for girls. They have things like hair play. They have things like nurturing play, which you watch my doll versus action figure video. I talk about this a lot. Boys and girls play different. There are properties that appeal more to boys. And I'm not saying girls can't be into He-Man, and I'm not saying boys can't be into Monster High, but embracing your core audience and not trying to have every property be everything for everyone is basically the way you'll succeed. You need to embrace what a property is all about, its core fundamental DNA. And for Ghostbusters, that core DNA is the conquering of the boogeyman. And if you don't embrace this, you're basically, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You can make, collector product from here till doomsday. We're always going to buy, Venkman and Stance and all that. But with the new movie on the horizon, I'm very curious to see how Hasbro tackles this and whether or not they embrace that unique emotional connection. Are they going to just treat this as an action-adventure property? Or are they going to see how it truly empowers children to banish their fears? That's really what my company's all about. It's that emotional connection and understanding that. And it really can lead to better product. If you have a brand and you want to understand, why customers are gravitating to it and what that emotional connection is, give us a call. We're at SpectraCreative.com. It's what we love to do, and we love to make product even more appealing. Thanks.